When the IRS auditor knocked on my office door, I thought it had to be some kind of mistake. My small business barely had enough cash flow to keep the lights on, let alone hide money from the government. I had spent 5 years building my woodworking business, from a one-car garage into a respected local company. Every invoice, every receipt, and every tax document was carefully organized, because I knew how important honesty was in business. The auditor introduced himself politely and explained that an anonymous report claimed I was hiding large amounts of income and avoiding federal taxes. My stomach dropped. Someone had deliberately tried to destroy everything I had worked so hard to build. I welcomed him inside and handed over my records without hesitation. My accountant had always insisted that we document everything, and I was grateful for that advice. Now for 3 days, the audit continued. Every sale was examined. Every bank statement was reviewed. Every expense was verified. It was stressful, exhausting, and humiliating. At the end of the 3rd day, the auditor smiled. "Your records are some of the cleanest I've seen." I felt an enormous weight lift off my shoulders. Then he added something that completely changed everything. "Sometimes these investigations tell us more about the person making the accusation than the business owner." That sentence stayed with me. I already suspected who had reported me: my stepfather. He had never accepted that I chose to become a carpenter instead of joining his construction company. Ever since marrying my mother 15 years earlier, he constantly reminded me that I wasn't his real son. Every family dinner somehow turned into a lecture about how my business would eventually fail. When my company started winning contracts and earning local recognition, his attitude became even colder. He couldn't stand seeing me succeed on my own. Months earlier, during Thanksgiving dinner, he had joked in front of everyone: "Small businesses only survived by cheating on taxes." Everyone laughed awkwardly except me. Now the joke didn't seem funny anymore. The auditor finished the review and officially closed the investigation. No adjustments, no penalties, no evidence of hidden income. I thought the nightmare was over. It wasn't. A week later, my accountant called. "There are a few strange things you should know." He explained that whoever filed the complaint had submitted incredibly specific information about my business. They knew the names of suppliers, approximate monthly revenue, even details that weren't public knowledge. Only someone close to the family could have known those things. That narrowed the list dramatically. I didn't confront anyone immediately. Instead, I continued living my life. Christmas approached, and my mother insisted the entire family gather for dinner. When I arrived, my stepfather greeted me with an unusually cheerful smile. "So how's business? Good?" I answered, "No problems with taxes." The room suddenly became quiet. I looked directly at him. None at all. His smile faded for just a second. Then he laughed, just making conversation. I noticed he barely touched his food the rest of the evening. Several weeks later, something unexpected happened. The same IRS auditor called me. "I can't discuss confidential investigations," he said carefully, "but I wanted to thank you for your professionalism during the audit." I appreciated the call. Then he added another sentence: "False reports sometimes have consequences." That was all he said. Months passed. Business continued growing. We hired 3 new employees and expanded into custom furniture. Then my mother called one evening. Her voice sounded shaken. "I need to talk." She arrived at my office carrying a folder. Inside were printed emails. Years earlier, my stepfather had been exchanging messages with an old business partner. One email stood out: "If his company keeps growing, he'll embarrass me. I'll make sure people start looking into him." Another read: "The IRS loves anonymous tips." My mother had discovered the emails while helping organize documents on an old computer. She was devastated. I never knew.
Neither did I. Suddenly everything made sense.
The sarcastic comments, the constant criticism, the anonymous report. It wasn't about taxes. It was jealousy. My mother apologized repeatedly, even though she had done nothing wrong. I told her the truth: "You don't owe me an apology." She cried anyway. A few months later, another surprise arrived. One of my largest clients recommended my company for a major government contract. Part of the qualification process included financial verification. Because of the recent IRS audit, my financial records had already been thoroughly reviewed and confirmed. The approval process moved faster than expected. Ironically, the false accusation became proof of my credibility. We won the contract. It nearly doubled our annual revenue. When word spread through town, people congratulated me everywhere I went. Even local newspapers featured our company. My stepfather couldn't avoid hearing about it. One afternoon, he unexpectedly walked into my workshop for the first time in years. He looked uncertain. I heard about the contract. Yes, he nodded silently. I may have judged you too harshly. It wasn't an apology, but it was closer than anything I'd ever heard from him. I simply thanked him. There was no point arguing anymore. Success had already answered every accusation. Over time, I learned more from that experience than I ever expected. Running a business isn't only about making money, it's about protecting your reputation, keeping accurate records, treating customers honestly, paying employees fairly, following the law even when nobody is watching. Those habits saved my company. Had my bookkeeping been careless, the audit could have become a disaster, even if I had done nothing intentionally wrong. Instead, every document told the truth. Every receipt matched, every deposit was explained. Integrity became my strongest defense. People often assume audits automatically mean someone is guilty. That's simply not true sometimes. Honest businesses are investigated because of misunderstandings, sometimes because of random selection, and sometimes because another person allows envy to become revenge. The important thing is being prepared. Looking back now, I almost feel grateful for what happened. The audit forced me to improve my accounting systems. It strengthened my business. It gave future clients confidence. Most importantly, it revealed who genuinely supported me. Some relatives quietly stood beside me throughout the process. Friends volunteered to help organize paperwork. Customers continued placing orders because they trusted my character more than rumors. That support meant more than any contract. As for my stepfather, our relationship never returned to what it might have been. Respect cannot grow where trust has been broken. But I chose not to let bitterness control my future. Holding on to anger would only give him more power over my life. Instead, I focused on building something no false accusation could ever destroy. A business built on honesty, a reputation earned through hard work, a team that believed in doing the right thing every single day. Years later, when young entrepreneurs ask me for advice, they usually expect marketing tips or financial secrets. Instead, I tell them one simple lesson. Keep every receipt, document every transaction. Treat integrity as your greatest investment. Because success attracts attention, sometimes admiration, sometimes jealousy, and occasionally someone will try to tear down everything you've built. When that day comes, your greatest protection won't be expensive lawyers or clever excuses. It will be the truth written clearly in every record you kept. Along the way, the person who tried to destroy my dream accidentally gave me the greatest proof that my business deserved to succeed, and in the end, honesty accomplished what revenge never could. It built a future no accusation could erase.